Your doctor probably hasn't told you this, not because they don't care, but because there isn't enough time in a 15-minute appointment to say what I'm about to say to you right now. There are 7 things that millions of people over 60 do every single day. Things that feel completely normal, even healthy, that are quietly accelerating the very problems they're trying to avoid. High blood pressure that won't come down despite medication. Blood sugar that stays stubbornly elevated. Joints that ache more every year. Energy that vanishes by noon. Sleep that doesn't feel like sleep anymore. And the cruel part? Most of these habits were perfectly fine at 45. Your body forgave them. But after 60, the body stops forgiving. It starts keeping score. I've sat across from patients who were doing everything right on paper, taking their medications, watching their diet, getting their checkups, and still declining slowly. And almost every time, when we looked closely at their daily habits, we found at least 2 or 3 things on this list. Not dramatic choices, not obvious mistakes, small, ordinary behaviors that nobody had ever flagged as problems. That ends today. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 specific things that doctors are now urging adults over 60 to stop doing immediately. We're counting down from number 7 all the way to number 1. And number 1 in particular is the one that surprises patients the most. Because it's not what you eat. It's not how much you exercise. It's something most people have been doing their entire adult lives without question. If you're over 60, or if someone you love is, stay with me through every single one of these. The habit doing the most damage to your health right now might be the very last one you'd suspect. My name is Dr. Mandel. I've spent over 20 years in internal medicine and geriatric care. And in that time, I've noticed one pattern that repeats itself constantly. The habits that harm older adults the most are almost never the obvious ones. This channel exists to close that gap, to give you the information that doesn't always make it into a short office visit. Practical, evidence-based guidance that helps you stay strong, independent, and in control of your own health for as long as possible. Before we get into today's countdown, I want to ask you something directly. How many of your daily habits are exactly the same as they were 20 years ago? The way you start your morning, what you do after meals, how you wind down at night. For most people, the honest answer is, not much has changed. And that's precisely the problem. Because the body you're living in today is not the same body you had at 45. The habits have to change with it. Drop a comment below and tell me which one of your daily routines do you wonder most about. I read every single one. Let's get into the countdown. Number 7. Stop sitting for more than 30 minutes without moving. And this one is going to challenge something you probably believe about yourself. Most people over 60 don't think of themselves as sedentary. You walk in the morning, you do chores, you stay reasonably active. But here is what recent research has made undeniably clear. The danger of prolonged sitting is completely separate from how much you exercise. You can walk 30 minutes every morning and still be doing measurable damage to your cardiovascular system by sitting in the same chair for 3 hours every afternoon. The American Heart Association now classifies extended, unbroken sitting as an independent cardiovascular risk factor even in people who meet daily exercise guidelines. Here's what happens inside your body during long sitting stretches. The large muscles in your legs and hips go completely inactive. When those muscles shut down, your body's ability to regulate blood sugar drops sharply. For anyone managing prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, that's a direct driver of elevated readings after meals. Circulation also slows in the lower legs, increasing clot risk. And when you finally stand up after 90 minutes in your recliner, blood pressure can spike and cause dizziness, a condition called orthostatic hypotension, which is one of the most common causes of falls in older adults. The fix costs nothing. Set a timer for 25 minutes. When it goes off, stand up, walk to the kitchen, march in place for 60 seconds. That brief interruption restarts circulation, re-engages the leg muscles, and resets blood sugar regulation in a way that carries measurable benefit for the rest of the day. If you're on blood pressure or blood sugar medication, Speak with your doctor. Some patients see enough improvement from movement breaks that their dosages need adjusting. Coming up next, something you're probably doing the moment you wake up tomorrow morning that's working directly against your heart. Number 6, stop reaching for coffee before you drink water. This one is going to hit close to home because it involves a morning ritual most people have had for 40 or 50 years without ever questioning it. You wake up. The coffee maker goes on. Within 5 minutes of opening your eyes, you're holding a warm mug. And honestly, for most of your adult life, that was fine. But after 60, that habit is starting your day with a quiet physiological mistake. Here's why. Your body just spent 7 or 8 hours without fluids. You've been breathing, perspiring, and running kidney function all night. You wake up mildly dehydrated every single morning. And here's the age-specific part. The sensation of thirst weakens as we get older. Many adults over 60 are already fluid deficient before they get out of bed and don't feel it at all. Now add coffee or tea. Both are mild diuretics. They tell the kidneys to release more fluid than you're taking in. So the very first thing you're doing to an already dehydrated body is pulling more water out of it. That compounds the morning deficit before you've even had breakfast. For someone over 60, that dehydration raises blood pressure readings, worsens joint stiffness, clouds mental clarity, and increases the risk of the dizzy spell when you stand up that leads to a fall. The fix isn't giving up coffee. I'm asking about sequence. Drink 1 full glass of water, 8 to 12 ounces, room temperature, before the coffee. That single glass rehydrates tissues, supports the kidneys during their morning filtration cycle, and gives your cardiovascular system a gentler start before caffeine arrives. Patients who make this one change report less morning stiffness, sharper thinking before noon, and steadier blood pressure readings within days. Next, something that happens 3 times a day and is quietly spiking your blood sugar at every single meal. Number 5. Stop eating too fast. Before we get to number 5, I want to check in. If you've been watching this long, thank you. That tells me you're genuinely serious about your health. Go ahead and type the number 2 in the comments right now. It lets us know you're here, and it helps this video reach more people who need this information. Keep watching. The most important ones are still ahead. Number 5 is something that happens 3 times a day without most people giving it a second thought. It's eating too fast. And the effects go far beyond a stomach ache. Digestion doesn't start in the stomach, it starts in the mouth. Saliva contains an enzyme called amylase that begins breaking down carbohydrates the moment food enters your mouth. When you chew thoroughly, that enzyme does its job properly. When you swallow after 4 or 5 chews, large food particles reach your stomach unprepared, and your pancreas and gut wall have to compensate by processing faster. For someone managing blood sugar, faster processing means a steeper glucose spike after every meal. Not because of what you ate, but because of how fast you ate it. This is one of the most overlooked reasons blood sugar stays inconsistent in older adults, even when their diet looks right. There's also a satiety delay. Your brain takes 15 to 20 minutes to receive the signal that says you're full. If your meal is gone in 8 minutes, common when eating in front of the television, you finish before fullness registers. Overeating follows automatically. Over months, that shows up in blood sugar, weight, and blood pressure. The correction is simple. Put your fork down between every bite. Aim for 15 chews per mouthful. Let the meal take at least 20 minutes. At number 4, we're going to talk about something most seniors do every single day that slowly drains the strength they depend on. Number 4, stop skipping protein at breakfast. Number 4 hits at the breakfast table, and it's one that most older adults don't realize is directly connected to their strength, their balance, and their ability to stay independent. Many people over 60 eat a very light breakfast or skip it altogether. Toast and jam, a small bowl of cereal, maybe just coffee. It feels fine in the moment, but what's missing from that morning meal is protein. And after 60, the absence of adequate protein at breakfast sets off a chain reaction that affects muscle all day long. Here's the mechanism. Muscle tissue is constantly being broken down and rebuilt. This process, called protein turnover, requires a steady supply of amino acids, the building blocks found in protein-rich foods. After the overnight fasting period, your muscles are at their most depleted. The morning meal is the most critical window for delivering protein because the body is primed to use it immediately for muscle repair and synthesis. When breakfast is mostly carbohydrates, bread, cereal, fruit juice, the body gets energy, but the rebuilding process gets delayed. And in older adults, this delay is not fully recovered at lunch or dinner. Research consistently shows that distributing protein across all 3 meals, starting with breakfast, preserves muscle mass significantly better than consuming most of it at dinner alone. Muscle loss after 60 isn't just about appearance. It determines fall risk, walking speed, joint stability, and the ability to recover from illness. Each year of inadequate protein accelerates that loss in ways that grow harder to reverse. The fix is straightforward. Aim for 20 to 25 grams of protein at breakfast. Eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or a small portion of fish or lean meat all work. If you have kidney disease, check with your doctor first. Protein needs differ. Up next, a habit so common it's practically invisible. Quietly raising your blood pressure every single night. Number 3. Stop going straight to bed from the television. Number 3. And this one may be the most underestimated habit on this entire list, because you don't feel its damage in the moment. You feel it the next morning when you wonder why you're exhausted after 8 hours in bed. Here's the pattern I see constantly. Television until 900 or 1000 at night, usually the news or something emotionally engaging. Lights off, straight to bed. Then, lying awake for 45 minutes. Waking at 200 in the morning. Rising unrested. This is not a sleep problem, it's a nervous system problem. Your body has 2 nervous system modes. The sympathetic state, which governs alertness and stress response, and the parasympathetic state, which governs rest and recovery. For sleep to be restorative, you need time to shift into parasympathetic mode before closing your eyes. In older adults, that transition takes considerably longer than it did at 40, and it's far more easily disrupted. Screens emit blue spectrum light that suppresses melatonin, the hormone that initiates sleep. News and emotionally charged content keep stress hormones elevated. When you go straight from that activated state into bed, your body carries that activation into early sleep, fragmenting rest, elevating overnight blood pressure, and cutting short the deep sleep stages your body needs for tissue repair and memory consolidation. For anyone managing high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, or heart disease, chronically elevated overnight blood pressure is a recognized cardiac risk factor, not just a sleep annoyance. The solution is a 45-minute wind down before bed. Dim every light in the house, turn off the news, put the phone in another room. Read something calm. Try slow breathing, 4 counts in, hold 4, exhale for 6. That pattern has been shown to activate the parasympathetic system and lower resting heart rate within minutes. One habit shift in the evening measurably changes what your heart does all night long. If you've made it this far, most people haven't, and that says something real about you. Type the number 4 in the comments right now. Let's see who's still here. Now, number 2 and number 1. These are the 2 that change everything. Number 2, stop taking your medications without tracking how you feel. This one isn't about whether you take your medications. I'll assume you do. This is about what most people over 60 fail to do after they take them, and that failure quietly makes their conditions harder to manage over time. Most older adults are on at least 2 or 3 prescription medications. Many are on 5 or more, and the vast majority take those medications on the same schedule, in the same doses, without ever systematically tracking how they feel day to day. They assume the medication is either working or not working, and they wait until the next doctor's appointment, months away, to report anything. Here's the problem. Medications for blood pressure, blood sugar, thyroid function, and heart rhythm all need regular calibration. The dose that was correct a year ago may be too high, too low, or interacting differently now because of a body weight change, a dietary shift, or another medication added to the mix. Symptoms like fatigue, dizziness, brain fog, swelling, or mood changes are often medication side effects. But patients rarely connect the dots because they're not tracking. And when you do go to the appointment without notes, you rely on memory. Memory of how you felt 3 months ago. That's not reliable for anyone, and doctors make prescribing decisions based on what you tell them. The habit that transforms this: a simple daily log. 1 line per day. Blood pressure reading if you have a cuff at home. Energy level, 1 to 10. Any unusual symptoms. That log, 2 weeks of it, gives your doctor more actionable information than any single office visit. You are your own most important health monitor. The data you collect between appointments is irreplaceable. One more section to go, and this is the one I've been saving. Before we get to number 1, I want to pause. If you've watched this far, you're the kind of person who takes their health seriously, and that matters more than any single habit. Go ahead and type your name, age, and where you live in the comments below. It tells me this information is reaching people who genuinely want to understand what's happening inside their own bodies. I see every comment. Thank you for being here. Now, number 1. Number 1. Stop dismissing what your body is trying to tell you. I want you to hear this one carefully because it isn't about a food, a supplement, or a bedtime routine. It's about a pattern of thinking that is, in my clinical experience, the single most dangerous habit adults over 60 carry through their later years. It's the habit of explaining away what your body is telling you. You climb a flight of stairs and feel a little short of breath. I'm just out of shape. You have a dull pressure in your chest after lunch, probably indigestion. Your ankles are swollen by evening. I was on my feet too long. A word slips away from you, just tired. An unexplained fatigue has been sitting on you for 3 weeks. That's just getting older. These explanations feel reasonable. They feel responsible, but they are costing people their lives. The body over 60 communicates differently. Heart attacks in older adults, especially women, frequently arrive not as crushing chest pain, but as jaw aches, nausea, unusual fatigue, and a persistent sense that something is simply wrong. Early kidney decline has no symptoms. Early blood pressure damage to blood vessels is completely silent. The most serious age-related threats operate quietly until they don't. There is also a cultural pressure on older adults to be stoic, to not make a fuss, to wait and see. That pressure is understandable, and it